Hello and welcome to this video. Every weekend, I present interview scheduling reports on this channel. But based on questions that I have been receiving, I have the impression that there are still many of my viewers who do not understand the essence of these interview scheduling reports. And so in this video, I will be explaining what the interview scheduling reports are all about, and using examples, I will be telling you how you can use these interview scheduling reports. But before we go into that, let me make one comment concerning the different case number ranges that are reported in the various interview scheduling reports. The case number ranges that I present in the interview scheduling reports are actually case numbers that appear or that are shown in the SEAK data. Most of you are aware that at the end of the working week, Zatishas extracts the data from the SEAK website and he posts them to his own website. And so it is the case number ranges that are shown in the SEAK data that Zatishas extracts that I present in the interview scheduling reports on this channel. Now, one reality that you should be aware of is that all of that data is imported into this SEAK system by data entry workers at the US State Department. And so at the end of the working week, where they start entering the data, that is what we will have over the weekend. And so it is possible for the interview scheduling range that is reported for an embassy to not reflect the reality. In other words, in the interview scheduling report, you may have a case number range that is lower than the actual case number range where interviews are being scheduled. That was the case last week for a number of your embassies, and I made a comment to that effect in the last interview scheduling report. Over the weekend, those who enter the data in the SEAK system do not work. But when they resume work the following week, they continue from where they stop. And so generally, if at the end of 1 week, the exact situation or the reality is not presented in the interview scheduling report, the following week, the update will have been done, and what you will get at the end of that second week will be the reality. And so that should not be an issue. It doesn't always happen. Now, let's go into the meat of this discussion. Now, although most of you are already aware, but let me begin by saying that the SEAK data that Zatishas extracts and posts on his website contains data related to interview scheduling. Now, the importance of that data for you, a diversity visa applicant, is to give you an idea of how far or how close interview scheduling is from your case number. So, for example, in the interview scheduling report, if I say that Nairobi is currently at the 42,000 case number range, it tells applicants who are with case numbers just above 42,000 case number range that interview scheduling has come close to their case number range and that soon they can expect to be scheduled for interview. It also indicates to those applicants assigned to the embassy in Nairobi with much higher case numbers, say 80,000 case number range, for example, that interview scheduling is still far from their case number, and so they cannot expect to be scheduled for interview soon. That is how you should understand or interpret the various case number ranges that are present in the interview scheduling reports every weekend. Now, it doesn't only concern your case number. The interview scheduling reports also reflect the performance and the prospects of the embassy where you are assigned. Now, how does that work? The time that interview scheduling takes at a certain case number range at an embassy is an indication of the performance and the prospects for interview at that embassy. Let us take the example of the Accra Embassy. Since the first SEAK data were released at the beginning of this year, Accra has been at 3,704. That's the highest case number that have so far been scheduled at the Accra Embassy. And for the last 3 months, Accra has remained at that same position. That is an indication that the Accra Embassy is not performing well. And in addition to that, that is also an indication that prospects for interview at the Accra Embassy are bad. That's another way you can use interview scheduling at your embassy as a diversity visa applicant. So with that, there should be no need why applicants should continue to ask concerning their chances of interview at this embassy or at the other embassy. Both the interview scheduling reports and the embassy prospects report should indicate to you as a diversity visa applicant your chances of being scheduled for interview or the prospects of you being scheduled for interview at each one of the various embassies that are present in these reports. So it is as simple as that. That is how you should use interview scheduling as a diversity visa applicant. Now, a couple of comments before we end this discussion. In case you are in the position to access the SEAK data and see how far interview scheduling is at your embassy on a regular basis, say on a weekly basis, then it's okay. But in case you cannot do that for yourself, perhaps you do not have the time, then the easier option will be to follow the interview scheduling report, because just by listening for a few minutes, you will have an idea of whether interview scheduling has taken a step closer to your case number range. And as I said, you will have an idea of your prospects or your chances for interview being assigned at your embassy. And then the second thing is that this concerns all regions, not just the Africa region. I may have used Nairobi and Accra as examples. I cannot touch on all of the embassies and consulates in each and every video. And so whenever I use an embassy as an example, if you are not assigned at that embassy, all you need to do is to apply the concept to your own case. That is how it works. So that is it. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching it. See you, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.